Hello and welcome to the Schwartz Advisor Report with Aftermarket News. I'm Emma Henderson. With me today is a partner for the Schwartz Advisors, Brian Cruikshank. How are you doing?
I am great, Emma. How are you?
Good. And you guys have been busy lately. So you were the exclusive sell-side advisor for City Auto Supply, and they were bought by Nexamotion Group. So what can you tell us about that deal?
Yeah, that deal closed very recently on October 28th. The deal closed. Um, as you said, we were the exclusive sell-side advisor to City Auto Supply. Larry Chu is retiring after more than 40 years in the business, and he just felt that this was the right time to exit. The management team is going to stay in place. Xiao Di is going to continue to run the Northern California operations, and Blaze Brown will continue to run the operations in Honolulu. And it was great to work with both parties.
Absolutely. Now, we're getting to a very busy time of the year. So how would you characterize M&A activity so far?
Yeah, I was looking back at 2024. It was a pretty standard year. I think the deal flow was what we'd expect. I think one of the changes that we talk about internally is the length of time it takes to get deals done. We just find that companies are being more thoughtful and careful in their due diligence process. You would think that larger deals would be more complex, and that's probably true in some cases, and that may make the time it takes to get a deal done a little longer. But we find that even the small deals uh, can take a long time too. There are complexities to even medium and small businesses that can make the process a little longer.
That makes sense. And I'm curious if there are any market segments of note in terms of mergers and acquisitions this year.
So at Schwartz Advisors, I cover primarily the distribution and service ends of the aftermarket. And so I would say that both of those continue to be really robust. On the service side, we're seeing continued interest in quick lubes and tire dealers and general repair.
And we talked, it's about the same number of deals, but what are any specific deals that stand out this year?
Yeah, so as we get toward the end of the year, I was looking just yesterday at some of the deals that we've seen this year. Some of them we were involved in, and some of them we weren't. So the standout deals to me, and these are pretty representative of just generally what's going on in the aftermarket. At the top of the list, I think, is Advance spinning off Worldpac, and it'll be really interesting to see what Carlisle does with Worldpac. Worldpac was, something that was associated with General Parts, and so when General Parts was acquired by Advance, yeah, that's been part of that organization for a very long time. So it'll just be really interesting to see what happens there. We were directly involved in Kian Capital making an acquisition in the service end. So they acquired a chain of Meineke repair facilities, and they are now the largest Meineke franchisee in the United States. We were also involved in ICV Partners and their acquisition of some Valvoline oil change facilities in Oklahoma City area and Western New York. I mentioned in the beginning of this interview that we see lots of interest on the tire side. Just an example of that, Dobbs Tire was acquired by Audax in 2023, and now we're starting to see more acquisitions by Dobbs. We mentioned Nexamotion Group. They made the acquisition on October 1st of 4M, and then of course the most recent of City Auto Supply. We've seen a lot of acquisitions in the collision space by Joe Hudson, Collision Right, and others. That I should have mentioned that when you asked me if there's some areas of interest. Collision certainly is one of them. And then we're also seeing a lot of interest on the mobile and fleet repair side of things.
And I'm curious if any of these deals kind of surprised you.
When I was at Northwood University and I'd be talking to a group, I always made this pitch to them. I always said, don't be surprised by anything. When I got into this business in the mid 1990s, there were just some companies that I thought would never sell. My colleague here at Schwartz Advisors, Mike Buzzard, his family business, Maudie, was a business that I just thought the Buzzard family would never sell, and yet they did. The Sloan family, I mentioned GPI earlier, thought that Sloan family would never sell that business, and yet they did. Most recently, Moog Louisville Warehouse, I thought would stay with Doug Washbish forever and ever, and he ended up selling. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying nothing surprises me anymore.
That's fair to say. I can say in my career, we usually use that same line pretty often as well. So what about the automotive enthusiast segment?
Oh, that's not my area of expertise, but just last week I was reading a Harris Williams report that predicted a pretty good 2025 for the enthusiast market. The thing about the enthusiast market that's different than the normal motor vehicle aftermarket is its discretionary funds. And if the economy's not doing great, people are a little less willing to spend money on their toys. We do work in the enthusiast space, but we really love the traditional aftermarket because it's non-discretionary.
It's very reliable.
It'll be interesting to see, just sort of take the temperature of SEMA next week. It'd be fun to walk around and kind of see how people are feeling about things.
Yeah, definitely. So final question, I am curious. We've asked about everyone else. So is there anything in the pipeline for Schwartz Advisors?
Yes, but obviously I can't tell you specifics. We have several deals that that are going to close probably in the next between now and the end of the year, and probably in the first quarter of next year. And I look forward to when I can specifically talk about those deals.
So you guys are keeping busy. Safe to say you're keeping
we are keeping busy. M&A is alive and well in the motor vehicle aftermarket.
All right. Well, Brian, thank you so much for being here today. And thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks, Emma.